Doug and P back with another video. So this one's about a woman who was 22 when she got married to a guy who was 37, and shortly after their wedding, he got diagnosed with testicular cancer. Well, 5 years into his cancer battle, she divorced him. That's right. She divorced him while he was fighting for his life with cancer. This article is called "I Divorced My Dying Husband. He Wallowed in Self-Pity and Killed My Vibe." That's right, you guys. And before I get into this article, first off, like the video and subscribe to the channel. I really appreciate it. It's just you support me and what I'm doing over here. But before I get into this article, let me tell you, I have a friend that's a girl. We've been friends for a while. And I said, hey, I have a YouTube channel. You should subscribe. So she went to my YouTube channel and she watched some of my videos. And she said, Doug and PA, it seems to me like you sure do criticize women a lot. You need to talk about men more and how bad men are on your channel. I said, here's the thing about that. What did Kevin Samuels say? For the past 40 to 50 years, universities, daytime television, literature, movies have just been a nonstop male bashing tidal wave. Commercials, sitcoms, male bashing. You want to get some of that? Just turn on the TV to any channel. Okay, it's only been the last 5 to 7 years that men are able to air their grievances on YouTube. And you know what? You may think if a woman thinks men are trash, she can go right ahead. But women can be trash too sometimes. Okay, women have just as much of a propensity to do evil as men do. That's my only point about doing these types of videos. So women, you need to be careful what type of men you let into your life, and men, you need to be careful as to what kind of women you let into your life, because you could marry a woman who will leave you high and dry when you have testicular cancer, like this woman. So let's get into the story here. It says, "Till near death do us part." A woman who, okay, as I read this, guys, picture if this was a man saying this about his wife. I want you to do that exercise while we're going through this. And a lot of times I skip through a lot of the articles, but I'm reading this whole thing because this is a doozy. Listen to this woman's cope about why she left her husband high and dry. A woman has opened up about why she divorced her dying husband, saying his 5-year cancer battle took a toll on their marriage as he wallowed in self-pity. Ugh! Yikes. Yana Fry, 40, wed her late husband when she was 22 years old and dreamed of starting a family with him. But the bride's dream was soon dashed when her husband, then 37, was diagnosed with testicular cancer. We couldn't really think about our future, Fry told Caters. How can you plan for your future as a newly married couple when you're struggling with something like cancer? People react in one of two ways to critical illnesses. I've seen it over and over, she continued. The first type was how my husband unfortunately was, the people who drown in self-pity. The second type of people are those who are instead concerned with everyone around them. I wonder how many people do either of these two, because I don't think it's a person with cancer's responsibility to make sure everyone else around them is okay when they're fighting for their life. Fry, who was living in New York City with her husband, said no one was worried about how she was doing during the difficult time. You guys, let me read that again. Fry was living in New York City with her husband, right? Said no one was worried about how she was doing during the difficult time. Imagine if a man said that about his wife. We saw different kinds of doctors. Not a single person ever offered me help, she bemoaned. They never asked, do you need a support system? And are you part of a counseling group? This is the woman right here. Ugh. Fry's husband continued treatment for his cancer, but the disease only worsened. I was hoping for the best with my ex-husband's cancer, but then years went by and I started to lose hope, she recalled. It was 5 years with all the treatments, and it started to change the dynamics within our relationship. It wasn't until that 5th year that I started to think about leaving, she continued, but I felt like I couldn't say anything. When someone is dying next to you, you feel like you can't talk about your own well-being because you compare it to their suffering. You guys. When someone is dying next to you, your own well-being. Oh my goodness. Fry says she was motivated to finally leave her sickly spouse after a friend took their own life. This was her and her husband. It was my first funeral and it was very shocking, Fry explained of her pal's unexpected self-deletion. In my mind at the time, self-deletion became an option even though I had never considered that before. I was in such a bad state. It was very clear to me that if I didn't save myself, I was probably gonna die, she dramatically added. Fry subsequently filed for divorce from her husband, leaving him stunned. Poor guy. I mean, women leave men 80% of the time. You know, this was a while ago, but I'm pretty sure men now wouldn't be surprised if their wife left him when he was sick. Here's the knockout punch, guys. His main focus was more and more so about him, she stated. God. Women, man. At the beginning of his treatment, he was still checking on me, but he felt even more pity for himself because of the divorce. I can't say that he was hugely supportive, she further admitted, of her decision to end their union. Well, would he be? His wife is leaving him while he's dying. But what was even harder was the reaction of society, which I didn't expect. And this is the disconnect that women have. How does she think she was going to be received? Because a man would have got crucified. I'm surprised she got any negative pushback at all. All of her friends are probably like, oh, you go, girl. You have your life to live. Because 5 years later, she was 27 years old, still young, still attractive. She's not going to stay with that guy. Well, why would she do that? She's young enough to get back out in the game, find a significant other who isn't sick, she can have kids with. She's going to duck out. Men are more likely to stick with their wives when they're broke, when they're sick, when they're cheating, when they're stealing from them, when they're taking advantage of it. Men are more likely to stay with women than women are to stay with men. And this is another example of that. People were in pain and they wanted to blame someone, she explained. Fry says she and her husband subsequently stopped speaking. He ended up remarrying before he passed away 2 years later, so he can find someone to stick through his last 2 years, which were probably the worst 2 years, but you couldn't stick around? I actually found out on Facebook that he passed away. There was a picture of him from a common friend, and it said, "Rest in peace." My first reaction was, you must be joking. Someone would have called me and told me, but no one did, she mournfully added. And once again, the disconnect. You dipped out on him. You deuced out. You said, see you later. You're sick. You're not thinking about me. What about me? That's what she said to him. I need to save myself. Imagine what those conversations were like when she was packing up her stuff and about to head out the door. He probably begged and pleaded and said, please don't go. And she said, I have to look out for me. I have to look out for what's good for me, and dipped out. And she thinks someone's going to reach out to her because he died? He had a new wife. What were they going to reach out to you for? The disconnect is ridiculous. Fry has since moved to Singapore and works as a life coach. Because of course she does. A woman that does the type of scummy thing is telling women how to live life, how to coach women on life. Come on, man. This keeps getting better and better. She has also remarried. She says she has no regrets about leaving her dying husband, but admits she spent years in therapy trying to work through her complicated emotions. I feel we, especially women, are just usually brought up is the mentality to serve others. Good editing there, New York Post. But when you go against it, you learn a lot about resilience and self-awareness, Fry declared. I had to have years of therapy to learn that I am not a horrible person for making the decision that I did. She said she holds no bad feelings towards her late ex-husband despite their difficult marriage. stating, "I was so happy and so thrilled that he got remarried before the end. I genuinely hope that they had a beautiful life together." And this is her projecting. She was glad that someone else was there for him because she felt bad that she was too weak to stand by him till his dying days. It made her feel better that someone else was there for him. And this just goes to show you guys, just because you get married doesn't mean she's going to be there if you get sick, if you lose your job, if something, if you lose a family member, you have to grieve. She might not be there for any of that. And once again, we need to stop this visceral reaction that I can't believe a woman would do that. You see stories in the news. I remember I saw a story where a pregnant woman carjacked a guy. And the guy defended himself with his weapon, deleted this woman. Everyone's like, I can't believe he did that to that pregnant woman. He could have, what could he have done? But she was pregnant. Why do we have this visceral reaction to that women don't do this type of stuff? We need to fix that in current day society. Let me know what you think in the comment section. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, and I'll catch you on the next one.